Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Laika, and as usual, I like to provide my subscribers with information on how they can earn money online because we are all about financial freedom. I like to provide you with information on immigration, visas based on my own personal experiences. Well, because of COVID, that's not been possible for a lot of countries because we had plans to travel and then things happened. Yeah, but also I like to provide you with information on how you can find work abroad, immigrate, and yeah, just basically opening our minds to opportunities. The world is ours to explore and there are no limits to what we can do. So today I have planned and I have great content for you because I'll be speaking about how you can immigrate to Estonia. If you're excited, if you're interested in this, then stay with me till the end. I'll let you know the websites that you can use to apply for work. I'll let you know about just the whole travel and immigration process. And of course, if you're coming from Kenya, there are other things that we're going to discuss. And yeah, just finding the right way to immigrate and to be able to work in a different countries. Like, for example, which industries are in demand, which jobs can you look for, how easy is it to find work, and all that. Yeah, so as usual, come with me. So first of all, when you're looking to immigrate to Estonia, one of the important things to note, especially if you're coming from Africa, is that the weather is not as bad as it can be. It's not as extreme as it can be in some of these countries that are way up north. Like the winters are mild, the summers are cool. It's not extreme, in short. Also, Estonia is a member of the Eurozone, which participates in the whole Schengen agreement. It's also a member of the EU. So as you know, I've spoken about the EU before and the blue card scheme. So if you have a blue card, then you can look to immigrate to Estonia from wherever you are if you find that there's a job there that you would like to work in. But as usual, countries in the EU like to prioritize their own country people, and then they would go to the EU members and then to the rest of the world. This means that if you're qualified in a job and you are not a member of the EU, it might be a little bit, not a lot, but all these countries in the EU also have their own vibrant economies. So it's not like you'll be having a very big competition in the EU anyway. It's not as bad as it is back in Africa where like everyone is just scrambling for a job, and it's really sad. But if we get an opportunity to immigrate and work somewhere else, then we're going to take it. Yeah, so Estonia is also a member of NATO. These are just important things to note. In Estonia, 80% of the population speaks English, so you're not going to be having a problem if you're already an English speaking person. There are two ways for you to find work in Estonia. One of them is joining an agency that deals with finding people work in Estonia anyway. And I don't mean like someone who approaches you and tells you, I'm going to take you to Estonia. It's you going online and finding the agencies that actually deal with this, and they are based in Estonia. So there are some that would be bringing in immigrant workers anyway, like that's their job. And then the second part is by applying for work online. I'm going to tell you the best websites that you can use to apply for work. One of the best ones that I've seen is www.workinestonia.com, www.cvok.ee, www.cv.ee, www.job.ee, and then there's of course there is careerjet.com. You can also use another one that we've used for Malta, learnforgood.com. There's also another one, job.ws/Estonia. That's / not stroke. That's not the tech language. If you just copy and paste, or if you look at it and then paste it on your search bar, then you should be able to find a lot of jobs that are currently on offer in Estonia. Now, the most popular professions for foreigners in Estonia, like what the employers there are looking for example, builders, doctors and nurses. This is one of, like, nurses are just wanted everywhere. Like Canada just now wants nurses, UK wants nurses. I think if you're a nurse, you're in a very good position. You shouldn't be unemployed. I think I've not met an unemployed nurse. Have you? If you're also a sales representative, a highly qualified construction worker, also handyman, if you just work, if you're skilled at doing jobs that, you know, like handy skills, also becoming a wiper, you know, like cleaning windows and that. Also, the other in-demand job is for heavy-duty vehicles. You know, if you're a driver for a truck, then you can definitely look for work in Estonia. Also, teachers, IT specialists, programmers. If you've also done anything to do with shipbuilding or any of the technologies to do with ships, then you would be also someone who can go in Estonia, because this is one of the parts where they like to hire people who are qualified in. Also teachers, I don't know if I've said teachers and university lecturers. If you are qualified in that, then definitely get on to looking for work in Estonia. There's also jobs for people who are in managerial positions. It's not just for the lowly people, you know, like cleaners and that. It's also something that people can explore. If you're a manager, if you've been a manager in anything, then I would also encourage you to go and see what's available. One thing that I would like you to note is that if you apply for a job and an employer gets in touch with you, and then during the interview they ask you like how much you would like to be paid, the first thing that I would encourage you to do is, first of all, get online and find what the minimum wage is, because usually it would be higher than that. Depending on the type of job you're going to do in Estonia or in any other country, you should be able to be paid more than the minimum wage, because you're coming from outside and you're going to need accommodation, transport, and all that. Now, which visa will you need when you're going to Estonia? You'll need a work visa category D, and you'll apply for it from your country. Now, your work visa will be valid for 1 year, but then it doesn't mean that you can travel with your work visas, for example, from Estonia, and then you go to another Schengen country. You'll need a visa to go to those countries. You know, like if you're making stopovers and that, and then going into the towns, you will need to get a visa for those countries, like a layover visa, and then you'll be able to go to Estonia. Your work visa for Estonia does not cover the other Schengen countries. Today I'm going to go a bit extra and just speak about the documents that you need when you're applying for a work visa in Estonia, because previously I've not really been able to find the time to do all this. So today let's really get a look at this. So the first thing you need, of course, is your passport. This is what I've always said. Apply for your passport and have it at home, because it's the first thing that you need to immigrate to any country. The second thing is a visa application form. This one you'll fill it at home, and then you'll carry it with you on the day of your appointment, where you're going to be taking your documents to the consulate or to the embassy or to any of the contact centers where the Estonian government is represented in your country. You know, like every government has a place where they're represented in a different country. For example, for UK visa, I would go to Westlands. For Italy visa, I would go to Westlands again. So there are usually different places where you can take your documents, and the application form is one of the documents that you'll need. You'll also need a passport photograph. This photograph needs to be on a light background, 3.5 by 4.5. They're going to tell you all this, but let me just speak about them anyway so that you know. You'll also need a letter of employment from the employer who's going to hire you in Estonia. So after they've conducted your interview and they've liked you, they're going to send you a letter of employment. And this is what I always say is called a job offer. You'll then need to write an explanation of why you want to enter the government of Estonia. And in this case, you're going to be speaking about your employment, and that being the sole purpose of you wanting to immigrate and go to Estonia. You'll also need to have a statement that shows that you've paid for the service. Most of these services, when you're applying online, you'll just pay online, and then you'll just carry there's something that they'll send you back to show that you've paid. So you must have this as well in your document. Brown envelope, you know, if you see people with a brown envelope in Nairobi, my friend, they could be applying for a visa, they could be applying for a job. Some of them are just carrying it anyhow. But yeah, have your envelope and don't forget these documents. You might also need to show that you'll have enough cash for the period that you're going in the country. Now, this is where the job offer covers that. Depending on what you've negotiated with the employer, in their letter they might say what they're going to help you with, and then for you, You'll also need to have funds to show that you'll be able to sustain yourself for some time, you know, like a month or something before you're paid. You'll need to show a bank statement, or you'll need to show something that shows that you've had money in your account for a period of time. So don't go and borrow somewhere and then you just put in money yesterday and today you have a statement. Don't do that. Make sure it's something that has been in your account for a period of time. If you're going to be traveling to Estonia as a private entrepreneur, because Estonia has a good and open legislation for investing. So if you're interested in investing your money there, they won't put any limitations on you. So if you're going to be going there as an entrepreneur, you also need to show that you have the funds for it. You're not going to just be saying, I want to go as an entrepreneur, and then you don't have the money. You have to show that you have the funds. If you've been employed previously, you have to show the 6 months statements. If you're a student, you have to show the letter that you've been called to the school and that you'll have enough money to go and stay there. You'll also need to show booking for a hotel. You'll need to show that you've booked accommodation or you've booked a hostel, depending on where you're going to be staying as an employee as well. You're not going to just land in the airport and then find accommodation after. You're going to be getting a place, renting it, and then once they've given you that contract of you going and staying there for the month or for the year, whichever the period of time you signed that for, they're going to be sending that to you, and then you're going to use that, for example, an Airbnb that you've booked online, to go and stay there maybe for 2 days, and then before, as you look for a place to live, for example. This is just an example. People have different ways. Some have relatives that they're going to stay with. That relative needs to write so that you use this as you're going to the embassy. And this is not just for Estonia, for any country. Make sure you always have evidence for everything. If you're asking me for a checklist, these are the checklists that you need to use. So get this little booking that you've made somewhere, confirming that you've paid, and then come with it to the embassy and show it. Sometimes you don't even need to pay, just in case they refuse your visa. Just show that you've reserved a place. Show that you've reserved seats in a plane. You don't need to pay to reserve seats in a plane. Show that you've reserved a booking and then bring that with you when you're going to apply for a visa. So in this case, these are the documents you'll need. You might need extra depending on your circumstances. Don't use this as your template, you know. Have things that go with your circumstances, and yeah, use those and go to the government, to the consulate or the embassy, and then show that you found work in Estonia and you intend to immigrate there. Now, if you have found a seasonal job in Estonia, what you'll need is a category C visa. It's issued in the same manner as the category D visa, you know, for long-term stay. But then for seasonal work, it's going to be a shorter term visa, because you're going there to just cover the short term of the job. You know, like if it's harvesting something, if that's the type of job that you've found, then you're going to apply for a different type of visa. It's the short-term category C visa. Now, if you're looking to go to Estonia for internship, most of the foreign students that go there would be taken when they're going to the field of travel business. There's also banking and then IT. If these are your specialties, then it's a bit like more accepted for you to go in for internship. Now, these are the companies that hire foreigners regularly. Like, these are the ones that have been known to hire foreigners. There's Taxify, there's Skype, Nortal, Everypay, Playtech, TransferWise, Cash on Go, Interactive Brokers, Admiral Markets, Pipedrive, and Ericsson. These are the most highly rated when it comes to hiring foreigners. So that's where you might want to look at. Are they hiring cleaners? Are they needing brokers? Are they needing receptionists? That's where you can start with. Now, as we near the end of our video, as usual, what I always say when you're going to a country where they don't speak English 100%, you know, like they do in America, UK, Canada, Australia, all that. If they're not speaking 100% English, then you need to try as much as possible to learn the local language. And in this case, you're going to be trying to learn the Estonian language. 80% of the people speak English, but it doesn't mean that it's very easy for you as an English speaker, because you might meet someone who's just unwilling to speak English, for example. So for most of the people who can't speak Estonian, sometimes they just end up getting unskilled jobs, because for example, if I was to work as a receptionist and someone phoned and they want to speak in Estonian, how can I help them? But the career that people easily do without knowing Estonian is programming, because they need to know English anyway and they just don't need to speak to a lot of people. So if your career has something to do with, if your career doesn't involve you actually being face to face with people a lot of the time, for example, if you want to become a supermarket attendant, you'll be speaking to people, you'll need to know the local language. So depending on the career that takes you there, start by trying your best to learn the local language, and then eventually you'll get on to grow into a different career. So that's all for today. I hope you've learned something. If you've enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, let's keep on learning about different countries, and I'll see you in my next video, guys. Bye bye.